to judge, to appreciate, to condemn, whatever the case may be. I don't have to tell you that revolutions are seldom easy or pleasant for those anyone directly involved. And the noises you hear from newsrooms and often from their boardrooms nearby are strange, real, and newspaper circulation and profits are down. So are the ratings of the nightly news programs, sound the alarms. Cable news and the internet bloggers and the satellite and other radio talk shouters and the late night comedians are teaming up with Yahoos and Googles. Googles, iPods, MP3 players, and other strange things to put us out of business, sound, and wrong. Well, I say, calm down, please. I've told more than one gathering of my fellow and sister journalists lately, even a couple here in Austin already. I believe we have mostly fear itself to fear the current phrase. I think we need to look at a few critical basics. The bloggers are talkers, commentators, not reporters. The talk show hosts are reactors, commentators, not reporters. The comedians are entertainers, commentators, not reporters. The search engines search, but do not report. And iPods and MP3s are mere machines, as are cable television and satellite radio. All of them, every single one of them, have to have the news in order to exist and to thrive. Or to put it another way, in the beginning, there must be a news story. David Letterman tells a joke. Let's say, let's make up something. Let's say a vice president accidentally shoots somebody in the chest with a shotgun. Or let's say Alberto Gonzalez has a memory problem. Or Paul Wolfowitz has a lady friend problem. Or Senator Craig has an airport problem. Nobody's going to get it. Letterman talks about this unless they already know about the accident. They know about Gonzalez or Wolfowitz and Craig. John Stewart does a made-up news story about fired U.S. attorneys or ads on MoveOn.org. Nobody's going to get it unless they know about the real news story concerning fired U.S. attorneys and MoveOn.org. A blogger or a radio talk shouter comes unglued about a lobbying scandal or a wild man from Iran or somebody named Abraham, Michael Brown, or Donald Rumsfeld, or Hillary Clinton, or Valerie Plame, or somebody named Ahmadinejad. They and their varied readers or listeners have to know who these people are and what the fuss is about, but it's simply not going to work. And whatever the route it may travel, to the blogger, the screamer, the comedian, the cable TV opinionator, the search engine, or whatever, it has to start with one of us real news people. One of us board-in reporters. One of us journalists who was there, or who read the original document, or who did the original interview, or who got the original leak, who did whatever it took to make it news in the first place, to bring it to the attention of all others in the information and reaction food chain. A most important recent example of this being the Walter Reed Medical Center scandal. That came into public view solely because the work of two reporters over 4 months at the Washington Post. And thus, and I'll admit it's a very big thus, we, the boring ones of journalism, absolutely must keep our eyes on the ball. We must not stray from some of the basics that make us unique from all of the others. By going with stories before they're ready, by spicing them up a bit with a little over-the-line commentary on the left or the right, by raising the volume, and worst of all, by making entertaining people one of our purposes. I tell people all the time, you want to be entertained? Go to the circus, please. Do not watch the NewsHour on PBS. I never want anybody to confuse the news with entertainment or me with a clown. Besides, by sticking to our journalistic guns, we have the non-clown, non-shout, pro-straight reporting field of journalism all to ourselves if we, to coin another phrase, stay the course. Staying our course, de-course, in journalism does not mean that we should not adjust to the new information environment. There are technological and cultural developments that are revolutionizing the way our good, solid, needed news is delivered and distributed. Most newspapers, while sticking with their core mission to report the news, are already, some in desperation, some in quiet acknowledgement of reality, trying bold things with the internet and other technologies to amortize their news collecting costs and spread their reach beyond the traditional ink-on-paper newspaper delivered to the front door or to a newsstand. Television networks and news programs, including our own, are making our segments on demand for iPods and all other kinds of pods. Partnerships between and among various media delivery modes are proliferating, and more must come. That's the way it has to be. My point is simple, that in this rush to modernize and innovate, to survive in new environments, that we don't lose sight of our purpose. That whatever the delivery system, the information platform, as it now sometimes called, we, the journalists, are there to cover and report the news in a straight and professional way. Whether the news consumer is an old fogey reading the newspaper in the library in front of a fireplace, or a 14-year-old getting the latest news on a pink iPod with her name engraved on the case. The story, the first story, the straight news story, the investigative story, from which all commentaries, screams, and jokes flow, should be professional and politically straight, because they originated in the eyes, ears, judgments, and presentations of people who simply report the news for a living, or some would say, and I'm one of them, a calling. Again, think of the Walter Reed story. But also think about what you and other Americans know about your world, what's happening on the ground and about the ground in Iraq and Afghanistan, at the White House, on and off the floor of the House and the Senate in Washington, at state capitals like Austin throughout the country, in city halls and county courthouses, school board meetings, political rallies, presidential nomination races, at the U.S. Supreme Court, the Federal Reserve, the Departments of Justice, Defense, Veterans Affairs, and all other bureaucracies, and about electronic surveillance, civil and privacy rights, weapons, mass and small, beliefs and faiths, mainstream and offbeat, global warming, carbon emissions. Think about most everything out there in the world that matters, up close and far away. Most straight knowledge of it all comes first and foremost from the people who simply report the news. And it's not only about our reporting right now. There's also evidence that the role of the news gatekeeper is not only not going away, it's coming back big time. There's an increasing amount of news noise and noise about the news out there in the blogosphere, the satellite, iPod, and other spheres. People are busy. They want some professional, unbiased, unagenda assistance in sorting through it all to help determine what is important and what is not so important before they go to the editorial page or the commentators or to go someplace to be shouted at or to be entertained about that news. That is what we journalists have always done. There is no question that the nature, the machinery, and certainly the looks of the gatekeepers must change. But like it or not, there will always be a need for animals like television anchors who announce the end result of the sorting. They just won't be mostly old white men. The major problem we mainstream gatekeepers have now is the loss of the substantial credibility and trust that it takes to do our work effectively. Our arrogance, among other things, has gotten in the way. That's fixable. All of it's fixable. I happen to believe there's nothing wrong with basic practice of journalism in America today, that a little humility and a lot of professionalism and transparency could not cure. Along with the realization or re-realization that journalism is still about the story.